Hello everybody, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to Jimmy Does Knitting. This is my knitting YouTube channel where I pick a topic and we go from there. Today we're talking color work. If that fascinates you, different types of color work, strap on in. If not, I have a ton of other videos including pattern roundups and stuff on my channel. You can go and check them out. You can also find me on Ravelry, Instagram, Ko-Fi, Discord as Jimmy Does Knitting, so feel free to reach out for me there. I'm most active on Instagram at the moment because I'm shadow banned on YouTube. I did a bunch of Pride videos and now my videos are not reaching basically anybody. So if you would like to subscribe, or comment, tell a friend, that would be super helpful. I'd really appreciate it so we can get this channel going and get a little bit of momentum again. A couple things. I painted my nails. They are purple. I am that type of depressed where it's like I need sweet things, bright colors, fun to soothe me, not the goth depressed. I'm sure that will come later. So that's what's happening with that. Whatever. Anyway, I'm very discouraged now that the weather has turned. It's like gray skies in Amsterdam and it's just not the one. So we're having a moment and we're going to go through that moment and everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. I am also wearing the Culm. This is a design by Fiona Alice for Brooklyn Tweed. It has this really beautiful front motif. I did this in Kinross 4-ply in their black color. I forget the name. I have done a ton of modifications to make this fit. So I won't go over all of them, but they're in previous videos. So if you're really interested in how to make a garment fit more of a, I'd say even a male form, but just in general, little tricks and tips to get something to fit you, check that out there. We're going to discuss some of that today too. And I had one other thing that I wanted to tell you. What was it? Oh, I haven't podcasted in a month and a half. I think you guys saw me last week, but it's been forever. I had a really big project that I am looking at right over there. It needs to be sent out to the company that commissioned it, but I just need to do it. I told them that I was going to send it last week. I have not. So I'm all over the place. I have another pattern that I needed to write up this week. It just didn't happen. I need to do it because it needs to happen. So I may be a bit rusty. We may be a bit chatty. I don't know. I think the last thing I want to say is that I don't always show all of my projects on this channel, so you can go see it on my Instagram because I'm usually pretty good about documenting things for Instagram. But there are some projects for June and July that I am sure I've finished because I only have 3 whips, but I haven't shown and I probably will not show the final of. So if you're interested in some of that, go do it. I've really lost track of everything with, not podcasting for forever. So we'll see. Plus things are themed. So it's you don't get all of everything all at once. I got a really big project going on that I'm doing a separate video for. All of it. That is me rambling. Let us get into some things. We'll go a quick project first, and then we'll do just a flow, an ebb of things. So first things first, I need to get something right over there. Chianti cardigans. So these are my design that are for just wine bottle covers. I should have brought a wine bottle, but I don't have one here. But it's just a little sweater for a wine bottle. I have a really basic pattern, and then I was playing with color on this one. I wanted to do some scrap project ones for Christmas. So this is a little Santa one. And then I was going for candy cane on this one. It's a bit Where's Waldo? But it's, a candy cane thing. I put the stripes change in the back so that the front looks a little cleaner. Both of these are with Mondim. This is the ecru color and this is the red color. I don't know the exact colors, but everything will be in the information box below. But my mom is coming next week And she wanted a couple of these, so I knit up a couple when I had some downtime. I did more than that, but they're not colorwork, and that's the theme of the day. So I have these. You can get the pattern on Ravelry, and you can check out all my versions on there. I just sort of have a project page where I keep shoving some more into. So these are my 2 Chianti cardigans that I'm showing you. And then we're gonna start a whole saga, so get ready for it. So here's the saga and what has happened with all of this. What has happened is I wanted to do a modern mudcloth for Pride. It is a pattern by Mathews. He is an LGBTQ plus designer, and I was like really excited about this. So I bought this really special wool from Wool Dreamers. It's Breeds. This is their sport weight yarn. It's 170 meters, 186 yards for 50 grams. And it is 65% Guiara sheep wool and 35% merino wool. So the merino makes it look a little lighter. This is what the sheep looks like. And it is actually pretty affordable, and it's helping like indigenous Spanish breeds. It's a super rare breed. It's a really nice yarn. Because it's mixed with the merino, it's a little softer. It's loosely spun, and that red I think is the more primitive sheep. It does have some like darker guard hairs, which kind of fall out as you go, but it's a really nice, beautiful, like naturally like reddish OD yarn that I was obsessed with, so I got. And I was thinking, we're gonna mix these with 3 lace weights to create a sport weight and go from there. So I did this little swatch for the modern mudcloth, and I used 3 strands of Holst Titicaca in like a green, a red, and then a brown called Mahogany. I don't remember the other 3 colors, but I was like, I want to make this look sort of like pata colors, if that makes any sense. And I hated this. It looked like dirty, disorganized Christmas. Not into it. So I ordered a yellow, and then I tried a couple of different other combinations with this, and I was like, this is for sure going to be the one. And I hated both of these combinations. So the project went to the side. I did not like it. And I didn't really know what to do with it, which is unfortunate because I thought that this would be so good. And I spent a lot of money on yarn. That Titicaca, once you order like 10 balls of it, really adds up. This stuff was fairly affordable, but still it's just like the one color. So you had to order a bunch of other things. And it ballooned a little bit, right? And I hated it. So I was like, scrap this. We'll leave it for something else. I will do another thing. And then I had this like pattern idea, and I will put up a picture here. So I had a vest idea, and what I was going to use was the Breeds with 2 colors of Holst Supersoft held together. And I really like the swatch because I kind of like the colors. But the problem is I was going to make a design, and like the 2 Holst Supersoft was a little bit thicker than the Breeds, and I was like, I don't know about this, like in terms of gauge, but I decided I'd go for it. And what I did is I found a fade in my stash. So let's get this fade out. I have it partially here, partially not. So I have half the fade with me. We're just gonna go for that. I had a bunch of Holst Supersoft. I have a ton of Holst Supersoft. I like working with it. Sorry for the crinkles. But I had this coffee color, which is really nice. I had this leftover cinnamon color. I had this, what is this? Gold Crest as the next one. And then maize. So these were the ones that I was going to use. These are all the whole Supersoft. They were all 50 gram balls. Now they're just kind of whatever they are, and then they have it fade into like white. So there are like 4 other colors of like nougat, oatmeal, and ecru, and something else. It didn't matter. So what I wanted to do was use this pattern that I have like come up with and I was obsessed with because I saw the barista at our favorite coffee place wearing it, and make a marled fade. And then I wanted to steek it. And I wanted to steek it because I wanted the marl and like the fade to be pretty even and like not, you know, sometimes like it doesn't, like the rows and stuff aren't the same and it's too much color management, and I wanted it to be pretty easy. So I wanted to do that for a vest. And what happened was I started off with these 2, and you can tell because this is still rolled up in a ball, these actually really did not look that different or that marled, let's say, when I put them together. So it wasn't really looking so marled. The gauge between the 2 different colors was a little wonky. And then I had about the same amount of these 2 colors. So like I couldn't really like fade them from like one marl to another. It would be pretty much like an abrupt stop of like these 2 into these 2, which I thought would look kind of funny. So I knit probably half the vest and then I ripped it out. I ripped out the whole thing because I was like, I can't sell this as a pattern. I can use this idea with different yarn, but like as this goes, this is a no-no. This is not working for me. So I frogged that, and then I went back to the modern Mudcloth. And here's where this has come full circle. So what I have done is I have used the breeds. I have used the Supersoft, and I've used the Titicaca. So what I've been doing is the breeds is the main color. I'm holding the Supersoft with a strand of the Mahogany Titicaca, and then I'm doing like a fade, like a marled fade. It doesn't really look so marled. It's not like a huge fade, but I knew that with the colors, and I think that's fine. I just wanted something subtle, a little bit of interest, try to make it nice. So I have been cranking on this. All of this yarn is attached, and I have gotten pretty far. Where are we? Okay, this is the front. So, as you can see, I've done this, and I don't know how well that this is showing up on camera in terms of the fade, but we have the coffee color, and then right before the yoke ends, we have the cinnamon color, and then the gold crest, which is a little bit more contrasty with the mahogany on the bottom right there. Not the mahogany, yes, with the mahogany and the gold crest. So that is what I've ended up doing, and I really like it. I mean, it's subtle, and I think it uses the fade that I liked, and it also incorporates the abundance of Titicaca that I bought, and I spent like 100 euros on Titicaca. So that was what ended up with this, and it's beautiful. I really think that this is beautiful. Will I wear it? I don't know. I mostly wear black, but I think it's a really pretty sweater. Modifications. This does not have short row shaping, so I thought I would be clever, and I failed. So I'm going to tell you what I did, and then I'm going to tell you what I should do. So the short row shaping was non-existent. I wanted to raise the back and lower the front, so I did like 8 rows of short row shaping, and I did it from the back. So I started 8 rows early, so there's this little extra part of the repeat. What I did not do, I did not add the increases in with the short rows. I didn't think about it. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but that was the thing. So it does stretch a bit. It does come a little bit further, but because there were no increases in the short row, it sits a little high, which is why the collar is not so big. This is maybe like an inch of a collar, so like less than 2 centimeters. And that's just because it sits a bit higher because I didn't increase with the short rows. Now, as I'm knitting and as I will knit with the sleeves, it's going to settle a bit more on the body. But at the moment, it's a bit higher. But I am glad that I put the short rows in because this fits much better than it would have. There's always like this bulk. Did I hit my mic? No. There's like the bulk in these pictures of these things. Another thing that I did is partially because I added the short rows and partially because I ended up figuring out the math, was the yoke depth of this was going to be quite long. So he has the pattern where he gives your actual bust measurement and goes for the finished bust measurement. Like, you know, it tells you how much ease it is. I would be careful about the stitch counts. I don't know if the stitch counts for before splitting for the raglan are correct. I think they're what they should be, but not what they actually are going to be. In terms of like for, you know, like a 40-inch circumference, it's this many stitches, but I think actually it's something like 42 inches circumference or something. So I would double check that before doing that. I shortened the yoke is what I'm trying to say. I did the raglan as a bit of a compound raglan. I don't know how much you can see this, but I did increase more frequently. So the yoke depth I think was going to be about 12 inches. That's going to be too deep for me. So I got it down to like 10 and a half, 11, I think, by doing the increases more frequently. I probably would have not increased as much had I not also done these short rows. So that is what I have done to modify this to make this fit better. What you should do for the size 4 that I'm doing is I say, and I recommend this with every top-down raglan, is just cast on the number of stitches for the neckline and then knit the collar later. So I did that, and I would recommend adding the short rows into the ribbing in the back collar of the ribbing rather than trying to deal with the pattern and the increases and all that stuff. I should have done that before. I realized it, and then by that time I'd unraveled this yarn like 3 times and like done all the short row shaping and figured that out. I was exhausted. I didn't want to unravel again and separate the yarns and do all that. So this is how it's going to be for me, but I would recommend just short row shaping in the collar. And then what I would recommend is trying to figure out the compound raglan a little bit earlier. So for example, for size 4, which I have, I would have increased every row for the first 20 rows and then every other row for the next 40 rows. So 40 increases over 60 rows. That's what I would have done for this. And that would have given me about a 10-inch-ish yoke depth, which is my preferred. So that all to say, that's how you should hack the pattern, and don't listen to what I've done. What I have also done to this, because I can't just do anything by myself, is I've put decreases in on the sides. So you can see it a little bit with the pattern. Oh, you can see that fade a little bit more. But you see how it was like 2 stitches up here and then 1 stitch in the pattern, and now there are no stitches of this side thing, because I'm just decreasing, I think, in 3 separate points, like once every 4 inches-ish, like whenever I feel like it, to get a little bit more of that V shape with this, because that's what I like. I think that it would just look better with that. You don't have to do the shaping. There's no shaping actually in the pattern, but for me, that's what's going to work. So that is what I have ended up doing with this yarn and this pattern. I think it's going to be beautiful. I'm excited for this. I've used a lot of the cinnamon color. So what I did is I split it in 2 balls and then I'll go from there. And what this is nice about in terms of like color management is that I know that like when I get to this point, I mean, it's already in the yoke, so that's where I would have changed stuff on the sleeves. And then when I get, you know, where is it? Here-ish, in terms of color, you know, on the sleeves, then I just change the other color. I don't have to worry about necessarily like lining up. I can pretty easily tell with the motifs like where to just change color, and like don't worry about counting rows and like yarn management. I'm using up a lot of my colors, but I probably will not use up all of them. So that is what's happening with that. This has been on pause for like a week or 2 because of my next project. Don't you all hate it when people drink on camera, especially like people with ice in their Stanley cups and they're sucking on that straw. It irritates me so much. It's like, I know you edit your video. Why don't you edit out you sucking on some bottle of water? Drives me crazy. Anyway, I'm having some tea. This was the motif I was going for originally with the vest. I think this is, you know, a bit of a trial of like a slightly different one, but this one is actually the motif I was going on with the vest. And I did this, and I thought it was really cool because it fades from like one, and then it gets pretty even, and then it goes into like a darker color. And I've been really into this motif. As I said, there was like a shirt that I saw with something similar, and I was like super into it, and I thought it would be really cool. But what I noticed when I was doing the vest is that I should really just make this a scarf, because I think this would make a really cool scarf. And I did this giant swatch with some stash yarn. This is West Wool Tandem and some drops Daisy that I had just like lying around in like a decent amount of quantities. And what I did was I knit about 50 grams of each, so I could figure out how many rows and how much yarn I could get out of 50 grams of a DK weight yarn with the amount of stitches that I have here. So this is like a DK weight swatch for a scarf idea, essentially, with two variations. Then I chose a variation, and I used some other yarn, this time that I ordered, but for a fingering weight version. And so this is what the fingering weight swatch looked like. This is about 25 grams of 2 drops baby merino. And so this is what I ended up using for my actual project, was the drops baby merino. And it's kind of a nice yarn to work with. Like, I really would like to go with something like bright and like really cool. I really wanted to use like Chaos yarn or West Wool because they have great colors. As I said, I am broke. So those colors and those like 120 euros on a scarf is just not in the cards for me. But what is in the cards is Drops Baby Merino, which is just like a fingering weight. It's a superwash wool, which also is not my favorite, but for like an accessory, I think it's really quite nice. They had vibrant colors. I could get them fast and cheap, and that is what I did. So this turned into my scarf. This is like Problem Pattern City. This is Color Clashing. This is a Rainbow whatever Nightmare. It's everything I want it to be, and I love it. I'm also calling this like informally the MCal made me do it thing, because when I think of Stephen West MCal, I want to participate. I don't have the heart for the MCal. I want to use like all the cool bright colors and new techniques, but like without knowing what it looks like beforehand, I don't like doing it. So I have come up with my own scarf pattern. So this turned into this. So let's go over it. I'm using 10 different colors of Drops Baby Merino, and I just like put them together in a way that I thought was like bright and fun. Some are more contrasting than others and some are not. And what I wanted to do is write this pattern so like each one of these, each set of stripes, it's probably easier to see with these two, each set of stripes would be 25 grams. So you can use up 25 grams of DK weight or fingering weight. So like minis, those single skeins that you have that don't match anything. You know, Fiverr festivals are around the corner, Advents are around the corner, and I thought that this would be a really good pattern to use that from. And I thought that having like these Benetton colors almost would be a lot of fun and would be like great to go with it. And I'm having a lot of fun with these colors. So like start with the Judy's Magic Cast On. So it has like a nice termination point or start. And then I did this like orange and this rose. And This is giving me like the closed store, like fancy furniture store that was really trendy, that was right down the street. And then I have this like lilac, which is looking a little bit cornflower blue, and red, which is giving me red hat lady from like the mall in 2004. And then I have this like petrol and yellow one that I'm doing right now, which is very like Nautica 1996. And I'm just having fun playing with the colors and getting into this. This is all I've really been working on since Saturday, and it is Wednesday. No, today is Tuesday. I've been working on this for a couple days, so it knits up pretty fast. It's just stockinette in the round. Super easy. It's fairly mindless, but it goes pretty quick. As you can see, I chose not to stagger the pattern anymore. I chose to switch every couple of rows, and it varies based on DK or fingering weight. But I, decided to make these long stripes and then just keep the pattern the same and then change the color order. And then once I've used up all of the colors, you change to 2 new colors. So that is my big project out of this. And I changed the pattern a little bit. I think this works better for what this is, and it keeps it really like dum-dum simple. So you have to set up once in the beginning, and then you just have to pay attention to counting rows. And I'm doing that by, I have some stitch markers that I place like every 10. Do you see this? Every 10 stitches. I don't even have a beginning of row marker because you can tell exactly where the beginning of row is based on the pattern. And it's like super easy, super fun, super exciting. So if you would like to have an alternative MCal, come and test this with me. The tester call is out now. The form is below. I have written the pattern at this point in time. I have not put the Colorwork chart in, but it's easy peasy. So this is what I am doing. I have it, as I said, in the DK or fingering weight version. If you apply to the test, you're probably going to get in because nobody applies to any of my tests. So just think about that. But also do the test if you're going to do it. Like, it's no fun to have people ghost you and not give you feedback because you just really don't know what's going to happen. Especially as a small designer, it's just like a little scary. So if you're going to do the test, do it. If not, I want this to come out right before Christmas. So you have like this can be your Christmas Eve cast on. You can use all your Advent minis and you can go from there. As I said, it's a pretty quick knit up, but I also know that people will take their time with it. So I'm going to give like a generous test window for this, and then we can go from there. So you can use your stash yarns. You can be like me and buy new yarns and all of that. So sign up for the test. Link is below. But let's go over the colors. So the first one is this pink. I think it's called like Old Rose and Orange. Also, these only have color numbers, so I will read them off to you, and the names I gave them because the only ones I saw were in like Dutch, but I don't even know if those were the real color names because it's drops. I have this pink and blue, and then I have this green and yellow. After the green and yellow, I have this cobalt and this like magenta fuchsia color that I'm going to do. And then they have a green and a like purple. So it's going to be this on top of this. And I think it works out well. This is the amount that I have left over of the other colors. So there is some, I must admit, I did add rows after the orange and pink, but like only a couple rows. So I could use as much of the yarn, but still be like pretty conservative about it, like universal about it. The Drops Baby Merino has like 175 meters, 191 yards for 50 grams. For a fingering weight, I'd expect this to really be closer to 200. So the pattern is written a bit conservatively, but if you really want more, I give you tips on like how to use all of your yarn so you don't have to worry about like tiny little scraps of whatever. So that is that. I'm dropping things everywhere. I'm going to put this away. And that is what the modern Mudcloth, like, weird thing, and then the fade and that other weird design turned into was this scarf, which I'm very excited about. Little aside, I found these really cheap, like, grid notebooks at a like a stationery newsagent store-ish down the street, and I love these. These are, like, great. I had, like, a regular notebook and I didn't like it, but, like, these are amazing for design because I tend to, like, chart things out a lot or, like, draw things, and then the grid paper is really nice. Highly recommend. And they're, like, I don't know, these are, like, maybe €3 each, and I think it's great. So I'm doing that. Next colorwork project I'm going to do, I haven't cast this on because I need to really finish the scarf, but I have been, like, cranking on that for the last couple of days so I could show you. I'm going to finish the modern Mudcloth body, and then I'm going to do the scarf. I need to finish that before I do sleeves on my other two sweaters. And then I want to make these mittens. So these mittens are but I made these earlier this year because I was craving, like, something red, and I really like these. And now that the weather has turned in Amsterdam, I want to make another pair for myself because I bike everywhere and I think it would be great. So I normally go for just, like, wind resistant gloves, but I think that as these wear, they might wear better. So of course I'm going to make them black. This is leftover West wool, I'm pretty sure. In Copenhagen, I think, is their black color. And then I had this Mominoki yarn, which is fin wool and, like, fin wool, and it is beautiful. It's like this natural shade that was, like, almost watercolor painted, like, blue, and it's really nice. This is the most expensive yarn I've ever purchased in my entire life. I think this is like €35 for 100 grams of fingering weight. It's beautiful. Mominoki yarn is amazing. Can I afford this? No. I'm using Drops Baby Merino, but this is what I have left. I used this in my Paragon, which I finished at the beginning of this year. It's an intarsia pattern. It is beautiful. Like, I mean, nothing has made me feel like a knitter quite like the Paragon has made me feel. Anyway, I was going to use a gray, and I didn't want to use just, like, a crew, so this has, like, a little bit of interest for the contrast. Can you see that without it blowing out? And I'll have, like, a black mitt, and so I'm going to make these out of these colors, and I think I will enjoy that. And then, you know, stash bust, which is always great. So I have that. I have one more thing I want to show you because I finished a bunch of stuff that I, like, can't, just, like, I just don't show you everything. But I wanted to get this one out because it's beautiful and I'm very proud of it. This is the one where I have not been writing the pattern, and that's because I don't want to do the grading. I have to do the grading. I know how to do the grading. I just don't want to do it. So this is my design for Making Stories, issue 14. This is going to come out next fall, but it's beautiful. I'm so proud of this design, and I think it looks really nice. Like, look at the ribbing matches the motif for the saddle, and then this sort of, like, Aran stripe. It's top-down saddle shoulder. This is made in John Auburn Appledore DK, in the color Golden Knob. Yep, that's the color name. And I didn't know about this, but then, I mean, like, when it washed out, like, it bloomed. It's just so beautiful. I really love this sweater. I'm so proud of this sweater. It's going to come out next year. But there's that, and I wanted to show it. Does it fit with Colorwork? No. But do I want to show you something that I thought was beautiful? Yes, because I need to send it out next week. I need to send it out, like, pronto. And I wanted to make sure you saw that because I was really proud of it. And then I think that that's pretty much it for the knitting. There may be some knitting tea coming up, depending on how the next couple of weeks go. There is some drama in the knitting world that I have somehow gotten myself into that I'm just like, whatever. If that happens, we'll shift one way. If it doesn't really like happen, then we'll shift another way. What else is happening? Tomorrow is Berge, which is like the biggest knitting festival thing in the Netherlands. So I will go and do that this week. I'll put that over on Instagram. So by the time this video is up, I think the next day that this goes live, I'll put my little recap on Instagram. I'm not making a video out of it. I really don't find it that like those type of videos so interesting, and I don't want to do all that editing. So like a quick little like reel is just fine. There is that. Other than that, like life is, I need to get out. If you have any like good retreat ideas, specifically yoga or like any fiber craft or just like get me away from here sort of things, let me know. I'm very interested. I'm willing to just like take a holiday and like run away from here screaming for like 2 minutes. But my parents are coming next week, so there's that. And yeah, I mean, the only other really big thing that's been happening in my life is that after going to Spain, I felt so out of shape that I decided to start rowing, which is like the exact opposite of yoga. So I do yoga 5 days a week. And then I needed something that was like a bit more stabilizing of the joints and then had a lot of pull. Yoga is a bunch of push because you do like all those chaturangas and stuff. And so I needed the pull. And like we started rowing. Me and Mr. does knitting. We do it every Saturday at 9 a.m. now. And it really is just like changing like my body. It's really weird. It's really helping with my posture, and it's just like shifting things in a way that's also making me cranky, but is ultimately good for me. So we're doing that once a week. And yeah, that is my very exciting life. With that, I think I'm going to end this. So all of you, be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. Enjoy the autumn, winter knitting stuff. It's sweater weather, very exciting stuff. Be kind to others. Just like be nice to yourself, be nice to others, and I'll check you later. And yeah, goodbye.